Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. I'm here in pain today. I threw my back out. Freaking sucks. It's the day before going back to work, and uh, went to the chiropractor yesterday. Got it popped. Took a bunch of Advil and laid down on the floor, and then laid down in bed. But whatever. That's just me complaining. So anyway, this random booby says, "Good morning. Good to see you. Good to see you, random booby." Uh, so I did the first three issues of Star Wars rather, and then I couldn't find these, and because of my neck, I wasn't really allowed to move boxes and do things like that. So I kind of just let it go. But now that my neck is fine, I went in and I finished organizing my comic book room, and I found up to six. At seven and beyond were never lost. But I took out one to six to do this series, and then I misplaced them. So now I'm back to Star Wars. This is issue number 4, and just to refresh everybody, because it's been a long time since I did this series, I got these comics. I didn't see Star Wars right away when I was a kid. I remember my brothers and sisters all saw it, and they were like, "You got to see this movie. You got to see this movie." And seeing all the commercials. But I was like one of the last kids in the neighborhood to see the movie. I saw it in like a third run theater. I remember my brother took me. I remember the movie theater was tiny, and in my memory of it, we were the only people in the theater. My older brother and I, and he didn't see it either. So that was fun to see his reactions. But that was it. That was it. So I had these comics before I saw the movie, and I loved these comics. And then I saw the movie, and I got a little disappointed with the comics. I'm trying to remember. I think I collected the Star Wars comics up until Empire Strikes Back comes out. Then they had to like course correct the comic. The comic was going in a weird direction, and then I was like, it's too different, and I had to stop. So that's the kind of kid I am. Things have to like this. Ben didn't dress like this. Ben, that lightsaber looks weird. You know, Leia's shoes weren't like orange. It's just weird. Although this one isn't as bad, but Luke with the red lightsaber up here, you know what I mean? And I like this tagline: "The greatest space fantasy film of all." I've always said that Star Wars was more of a space fantasy, or, science fiction fantasy. Star Wars was science fantasy, and Star Trek was science fiction. Star Trek tried to be a little bit more scientific, although with all that Q and stuff like that, they had just as much magic as Star Wars. But Star Wars is about space wizards, you know, swords and wizards. But as always, let's look at the chat before I continue. Again, we got Random Booby. How you doing? Good to see you. Marcus, how's everything? Marcus, how's everything? I was talking to Marcus the other day. We were chatting, and because my back was out, and I'm typing on the floor. I was just making so many typos, so I just called him, and we talked for a while. It was fun. Uh, Crenshaw didn't realize how much he looks like the patriarch. You should get a shirt, take pictures with the patriarch shirt. How's everything? All right. So as I normally do, I'll adjust the chat right before flipping the page. No, Luke. Though here I stand, though I may die. At last, the battle with Darth Vader to the death. I was just looking the battle with Darth Vader, and then I was looking these two symbols. I thought it was trademark, but it's like a quote. That's really weird. The battle with Darth Vader, and then like a quote symbol to the death. Oh, dot dot dot. Okay, I get it. But it should have been 3 dots. The battle with Darth Vader. Dot dot dot. Okay. All right. Let's open this up to the advertisement. So, I'm going to put this in the playlist with the other Star Wars. So if you see this in the future, it's a little dark, huh? Let's see if I can get more light. How's that? How's that? I don't care if my face is glowing. What matters is the comic. So let's check out the credits. Roy Thomas, scripter, and I forgot this was written by Roy Thomas. Howard Chaykin and Steve Lailiola, illustrators in tandem. Tom Orzechowski, letters, and Archie Goodwin, consulting editor. Based on the film by George Lucas, a 20th Century Fox release. In battle with Darth Vader. So here we have the scene that they just rescued Leia and they're in that hallway. Now in the movie, they're hiding behind these outcroppings or supports or whatever. But in this comic, it just this comic just fully supports that stormtroopers can't hit anything. They can't hit the broadside of a barn. You know what I mean? They're just standing there, and they can't even hit. But in the movie, at least they had that the structural supports that protected them. What year is this? 1977. Okay, so this isn't that bad. Although not a big detail, but the Empire always shot green bolts and the Rebels always shot red bolts. It was just a way to differentiate who was firing, keep track of stuff. All right, let's look over here. We got C-3PO and R2-D2. They're in the that room where R2-D2 takes out his little droid wang and bangs the Death Star into submission. And here we got the famous scene where Leia rescues them. But I remember that was like I didn't think it was a big deal as a little kid. I don't know. I remember watching it and I thought it was, I wasn't too shocked, but I remember other people talking about like it was a big deal that Princess Leia like takes this fumbling rescue and like takes command. I decided it's up to me to save us kids. Get to that chute, Flyboy. Because I don't care. No, Chewie, don't rip her apart. I don't care what you smell. Now, the dialogue is a little off than the movie, and I wonder, are they working from a script? Marcus, right? This was like written and drawn from storyboards. Like this was done before the movie was actually released. So I wonder if this is the actual script and the actors, ad-libbed or changed things, because how George Lucas was notoriously terrible with dialogue, and the actors fought with them like almost every sentence to change it to a more realistic sounding language. Like, if you don't believe me, just watch the first Star Wars again and just pay attention to everything Harrison Ford says. It's just a testament to what a charismatic actor he is, that he actually turned that unspeakable dialogue into like cool. Han Solo is cool. This is a wonderful. See, like right over here, Han Solo says, "Holy, it was a garbage chute. What a wonderful idea, Princess, you had." Like, that's not what he said. What he said in the movie was, "What a wonderful smell you discovered. Unfortunately, these trash are vacuum sealed. Well, maybe my laser pistol could blast open that hatchway." He didn't say laser pistol. They said blasters, and he went to shoot, and it was Princess Leia said, "Stop. They're magnetically sealed." So I mean, I'm nitpicking. This doesn't bother me. This is nitpicky. Everything bounces, and that bouncing laser. As scary it was, everything like that. But later on as an adult, I was like, why didn't they magnetically seal like the prison area? If they could just magnetically seal a trash compactor, who cares about trash compactor? Like, why not magnetically seal that whole prison area? Or the whole Death Star, for that matter. Like, are they in danger just from the magnetic seal? Like, it doesn't matter. They're in the trash chute. It's just little things like that make me wonder. And then of course the what's it called? A Mynock? Is that the name of the creature that pulls Luke under the water rather? Even as a kid, the floating stuff, like it obviously was supposed to be metal, but yet it's floating. And then when they touch it, you can tell it's just like sponges painted to look metal and stuff. You know, that kind of stuff. It doesn't bother you when you watch the movie, when you're just engrossed in the movie. But later on, when you watch it for the 400th time, you start to notice things like that. So again, before I turn the page, I'll put the comic back so we can get the whole thing. There we go. Crenshaw. I was born 2 weeks before Star Wars released. My dad went to see it, was amazed, and took the family to see it. So I technically saw it in the theaters. Yeah. I saw Star Wars in the movie theaters. Like I said, my brother took me. It came out when I was in 3rd grade, and oh my God, it was the rage. 3rd grade. So what are you? I'm 8 years old. Perfect age for Star Wars. Man, that's some Star Wars from 3rd grade to 6th grade. We were obsessed with Star Wars. And then they played it in a local movie theater, which was down the block from my grammar school. And all summer long, it was like $1. I would go to the movie theater with like $1. I'm not even joking. At one point I counted, I saw it 27 times in the movie theater. It was $1. We'd go every day. Me and my friends. Hope you all having a blessed Sunday. I am so far. My back isn't as bad as it was yesterday. Yes, this was done before the movie was released. I think they had an early script. Yeah, makes sense. Just because there's just a lot of visual discrepancies. It's been years since I've seen the original trilogy. I vaguely remember some scenes, but it's all a blur. I have this movie like memorized. I think the Sith philosophy infected the Empire, so the higher-ranking officers were suspicious of highly productive people under him and would punish or kill those who were perceived as a threat. Magnetically seal the stormtrooper's armor. There you go. Hey, Moromi, how's it going? How's everybody there? So I'm going to turn the page. Blast it. I can't even see it. It's just a bunch of tentacles. So now he's being pulled back. He's coming back up. Let him go. Do they saw him getting shot? What happened to it? I don't know. It just disappeared. What happened to it? The walls are coming closer. I've got a very bad feeling about this. Don't just stand there trying to brace it with something. I don't think it's going to work. They're snapping like twigs. Looks like we've had it in our stolen stormtrooper outfits yet. Our only hope are the droids. R2's plugged into the Death Star monitoring system. Maybe 3PO, so this is all pretty much the same. The little walkie-talkie, the stormtroopers come in, help us. This is where the stormtrooper bangs his head, and it's funny because like I said, I've seen Star Wars in the movie theater like 27 times as a kid, and I never noticed it. But then they re-released Star Wars when I was in Albuquerque, and it was like they added some bull crap to it, so it was in the theaters. So my roommate Jeff, who was a lot younger than me, he never saw Star Wars in the movie theater, so we went and saw it in the movie theaters. So this is like my 28th time seeing it in the movie theater, but it was Jeff's first time. And I'll never forget, we were watching it, and he was like a little kid, just open, big-eyed watching it because he only saw it on a small TV screen. This is before even flat screen TVs, and even if they had flat screen TVs, we were poor college kids. And I just remember I jumped up. I was like, that guy just hit his head, and he missed it. So then we went home and watched it on a VHS test to see if it was the same. And I never noticed it as a kid, but right here is where the stormtrooper hits his head, because I was watching it more critically, because it's so here's all the scenes of them talk they just left. If you hurry, you might catch them. Pretty good drawings of C-3PO and R2-D2. Here they are, the trash compactor. Pacific Comics. So Pacific Comics, for those of you who don't know, it was like a distributor and a warehouse. And then later on, they started publishing their own comics, notably Gru the Wanderer and Twisted Tales. There was some other Pacific stuff Elric and Melnick. That's it. That's what got me interested in Pacific Comics. I was in, this is 1977, so a couple of years from now, I'd get the Deities and Demigods, the hardcover version with Elric of Melniboné, and then I would see the Pacific Comics Elric of Melniboné comics, and I just that so Pacific Comic was the first non-Marvel and DC comic company that I just got obsessed with, and they didn't put out too much stuff. They went under pretty quick. Luke's high-pitched screaming always got on my yeah. Luke is such a whiny bitch. There's no other way to say it. Luke is just a whiny bitch. I was gonna go to Tashi to get some power converters. It's our only hope. Keep saying that. Try to blast the door open. It's our only hope. I thought your only hope was Obi-Wan. So they blast the door open. How come the door doesn't ricochet again? But whatever. Oh, shut them all down. He gives the number. Yes, Master. You're right. We'll do it. You do it. And then we go to Ben Kenobi over here. The designs on the Death Star are just like, we got to admit, they're cool and everything like that. But why have like this? They don't follow OSHA rules. You got to walk out on this little catwalk, walk around this module. You know what I mean? Like, why not? Why not? That's really the only explanation. Why not? So we got Ben walking out here in this unfeasible place. And how does Ben know? Even as a kid, I was always like, Ben's been here before. Like he knows to go to this specific location. That they said that the Death Star was the size of a small moon. So just think of how much space and hallways and winding little areas, and Ben knows to go to this spot. Like, we just accept it as a kid, but this is like the kind of thing as an adult. I was just, I'm like, is he using the Force to guide him to where to go? Like, and I got to say, Alec Guinness Obi-Wan is the only Obi-Wan. Like, I like Ewan McGregor, but like, his story was told. His story was told. Han Solo, his story was told. Didn't need a movie. Things like that. Like, I don't know. I'm as you can tell, I'm not a fan of the three movies. That was it. Lucas really needed an editor. He really needed an editor, and he suffered because of it. Lack of continuity. Sometimes not every idea is a good idea. So, here he finally blows up the what's it called, the Mynock, and I love this. They're outside now. They're taking off the stormtrooper outfits. They're instantly dry, and not covered in garbage. You know what I mean? Like, they were in a trash compactor. There should be alien poop all over them. Just think about how disgusting that would be. Like, not just human waste, but like waste of Minox and everything. So they should just be like, just grossed. You know what I mean? Like, but they're completely dry. They just take off the stormtrooper uniforms. They're completely dry, not covered in poop. No reward is worth this. Luke's high-pitched evil never follows OSHA rules. Yeah, absolutely. That's no moon. Did Obi-Wan look at the Death Star plans? They didn't have them at this point, right? R2-D2 had them. Like, they didn't analyze them yet. So when did Ben have time to look at on the Millennium Falcon? Because it was implied that some time had passed on the Millennium Falcon. It's almost never too good to get feedback or an yeah. It's almost never too good. It's almost never bad. Yeah, I know what you meant. Here we go. Got some nice little. Got some gun ads. I know it's just BB guns, but just stuff that you wouldn't see anymore. Any sign of them yet? So here's Ben over here. He copying 3PO. I read you, sir. Are you safe? For the moment, we're at the main hangar across from the ship. Kid, getting back to the Falcon's going to be like flying through the rings of Fornax. You came down here in that thing? Yes. You're braver than I thought. And it's funny because I know in the Star Wars universe, this is supposed to be the equivalent of like a box truck. Like it just picks up deliveries and goes across the galaxy or whatever. But to us in Earth, Millennium Falcon was cool. It was a cool ship. So like you came here in that hunk of junk. Like when Luke says that's a hunk of junk, those insults rang hollow because the Millennium Falcon was a cool looking ship to us. They should have made it, if they wanted to have all these insults and have them pack the punch. They should have made the Millennium Falcon look a little less aerodynamic, less like a cool flying saucer. If I was to do a daring rescue and I show up in a milk truck, you guys rescuing me in a milk truck, you're braver than I thought. You know what I mean? But like, you show up in a Ferrari, you showed up in that car, you're braver than I thought. But that's the Millennium Falcon's a cool looking ship. Who watching this right now didn't have a Millennium Falcon toy as a kid and think it was the coolest thing? And now they're bickering. This is always the scene that made me laugh. Han, again, this is Han showing his bravery right here. I mean, is he desperate? Is this just human survival, or is it like inner bravery? But he just chases down all the stormtroopers. Stormtroopers kind of like lose their morale check, and he's like, I got this, and he chases them. It's pretty, we all laughed. Han chases them down until they get to the dead end, and then the stormtroopers turn around. It sounds like you didn't like the original. No, I love the original Star Wars. I love these. I'm just picking apart stuff now that as a jaded adult, but I'm saying the Millennium Falcon was a cool looking ship. I love that ship. So insulting it didn't really work. Yeah, I love the original Star Wars. The first 3 Star Wars movies. The first Star Wars movie that I got disappointed with was Jedi. Return of the Jedi, I started to see the cracks, but as an adult, the cracks were already there from actually, no, this movie didn't have any cracks because there was no continuity, but like the second movie, it's like there is another. This movie, Luke's making out with Leia, you know what I mean, and then Darth Vader's the father. Like he made Star Wars. He made, and I'm not even gonna say A New Hope because it was Star Wars. It was Star Wars, and it was a self-contained movie. And then Empire Strikes Back came, and that's when the cracks started to show up. But you didn't mind because it was so cool, And then I Am Your Father. It's like, oh, okay, that's cool, Like it was kind of like Heroes. When remember Heroes season 1, everybody loved Heroes season 1, and Siler kind of stole the show. And so season 2 came, and they changed the concept of Siler to the point by season 3, you were like, this show is broken. Same thing with Darth Vader. Darth Vader was just that creepy guy in the corner. Star Wars, Vader was just like, it was Grand Moff Tarkin who was the bad guy, and Vader was the henchman, this creepy henchman. He was, the Darth Maul, the second banana. And then Darth Vader stole the movie, so they expanded his role. And I like, we got to give more of a backstory to Darth Vader, and it just, I don't know. It's we got to tie Vader to Luke now, things like that. That it wasn't part of the original blueprint, if you ask me. And that, again, that's where Lucas needed to have an editor. But he was the boss, so you can't just tell him no, And that's what happened with the prequels. Nobody told Lucas, no, this is no good. This is no good. You know, this movie came out so good because it was art through adversary. He had to fight to get everything on the screen, and then he had two other people, like his wife with George Kazan, I think, uh, fighting with him to edit this out, and you know what I mean. And it was like sandpaper polishing it. And again, the prequels, he just did whatever he wanted. Nobody said no. You know. All right. It may have been a lot of world. If this ship is junk, what are the good ships like? Yeah, yeah, yeah. They needed to show me what a cool ship looked like, you know, because all I ever saw was the Millennium Falcon. So, and it was cool. I used to have a coworker who adored the sequel trilogy and decided to watch the original trilogy. With next day, you could see the face that she didn't like them. Yeah. Oh, the sequel. She adored the sequel trilogy and decided to watch the original. The next day, you could see her. She didn't like which one. She didn't like the original trilogy. She didn't like the original trilogy. But yeah, I'm literally the sequels. I watched the first one. I watched the second one. I never watched the third, and I never watched anything Star Wars ever again. You know, I'm done. I mean, I liked Rogue One, but it was unnecessary. But I liked it. I saw Han Solo on TV. It offered nothing. You know, we knew Han's story. You know, Han's story was perfect. He was a drug smuggling murderer who had a change of heart doing something good. That was his arc. After that, how did Han change in, you know, what was his arc in Empire Strikes Back? What was his arc in Jedi? You know what I mean? The all three movies were Luke's arc, but Han had his arc in the first movie, and it was done. You know, she didn't like the original because it wasn't the sequels. Yeah, I I I I I, I see what you mean. You know, because, and again, this movie came out when I was 8 years old. Of course, I love it. You know what I mean? I caught the zeitgeist. I caught everything about this movie. You know what I mean? So of course, this is my version. And if the prequels came out when I was 8 years old, those would be my Star Wars movies. I'm fully aware of that. I'm fully aware of that. You know, and you can't argue with that. It's like, you know, I still love Led Zeppelin. I was there when Led Zeppelin, you know, Zeppelin Mania came out. You know, and I could see other people like, that music is, who cares? But you know, I love the Burned X-Men. I got those monthly. You know, those are my favorite comics. Rogue One, unnecessary. Now I got to jump in. Okay. You know, good morning, chat. Good morning, Matt. You know, what Rogue One did, you know, it was fine. It had that cool scene with Vader. You know, I like that they killed off all the characters, but like it was a well competently made unnecessary story with fan service, you know, but still it was better than the sequels. It was better than the sequels. Here we got Luke and Leia. You know, he pulls out this little rope thing, and here they start making out. You know, like this scene. George Lucas did, like, I just realized I never took like that little plastic off this camera. Did Lucas have like, oh, their brother and sister, like when he wrote this scene? I don't think so. Like, you know, when was R2D2, you know, they implied R2D2 had a past. Like, I don't remember ever being owning a droid and stuff like that. But like C3PO, was he built by Darth Vader at this point? You know, like, no, Lucas all made it up later. You know, so here they go swinging, shooting. We got to get the others. We got to get moving. And here we got Ben over here. Pretty interesting 3 panels down here. I kind of like these 3 panels. And here's Vader, failing to see the dark silhouette which eclipses the light far behind him. John Connor, Warlord of Mars. Special note: 'twas no surprise Roy and Howie that Star Wars #1 generated a light year's worth of wildly enthusiastic mail here at 575 Madison Avenue. Nor that just as these words are penned, the Hollywood trade papers, Daily Variety, Darth Vader, and the Hollywood Reporter have given George Lucas special films some of the most unreserved praise that we've seen in a long time. Yeah, Star Wars was freaking a phenomenon. And Nichols, I always point out the girl names because people are like, there was no girl comic book fan. Yes, there was. Shut up. Man. Star Words, pretty clever. Look at all these ads. Impossible, not for the super bodybuilding system. It's impossible. So I'm ignoring the chat. No, Luke, don't kiss your sister. Don't you tattoo what goes on in Tatooine stays on Tatooine. It wasn't something we asked for, but now I really like it. It's true Star Wars stuff. Dirty Dozen in Space. Yeah. Like I said, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. Unnecessary, but it wasn't bad, My second helping of cake is unnecessary too, but it wasn't bad. Oof, that panel didn't age well. I know. Let's go back. I mean, just look at how, it's like a Harlequin romance cover, And then we got Luke and Han just running around. Man, Luke and Han and Chewie. And then we got Vader over here. He fires up the lightsaber, and again, the colors are off. Your powers are weak, old man. You should never have come back. You only know half the Force, Vader. So that implies that Obi-Wan knows all the Force. If he's deriding Darth for only knowing half, then that means that Obi-Wan must know all the Force, which changes because that's not dialogue from the movie. You perceive it as full power, as little as soon as a spoon perceives the taste of food. That's such a bad line. I'm going to read that again. Your powers are weak, old man. You should never have come back. You only know half the Force, Vader. You perceive its full power, as little as a spoon perceives the taste of food. Man, it's a good thing that line was taken out of the movie. You perceive its full power, as little as a spoon perceives the taste of food. Wow. And the back and forth fighting. I like this. This panel's pretty cool. We got more ads. The mighty meat snack conquers the horrible hungries. The mighty meat snack. So now they all meet up. Look at Chewbacca. Like, they didn't really draw Chewbacca too well, Again, this was before the movie was made, so they're making Chewbacca more ape-like rather than dog-like, right? Chewbacca, can we all agree Chewbacca is less of a big space ape than he is like a big space dog? Look, and now they see them fighting. Here come the stormtroopers. Mark my words. You will, if my blade finds its mark, you will cease to exist. But if you cut me down, I will only become more powerful. You cannot win this fight, Darth, for I have grown. That's weird that he calls him Darth, right? He should call him Vader. Darth is like a title, and Vader is the name, like Darth Maul. But at the time, he was Darth Vader. It just sounded cool. Like, I don't believe all of this. Like, they called him a Sith, but like, did they have? Did anybody read Splinter of the Mind's Eye? Because I wonder if that had any of that. That was supposed to be the low budget sequel to Star Wars. If they didn't get to, I never read, but everybody loved it. Here we got, he stabs him, boom, and then Vader. This always bothered me. Even as a kid, I called BS on this. He uses the lightsaber to pick up his clothes, and shouldn't it just cut the clothes or burn the clothes? But it picks it up, implying that the sword has force and matter. You know what I mean? and Luke screams. This has always been one of my people. Luke Skywalker was a Mary Sue. Luke is just standing there, and Leia literally pulls him into the Millennium Falcon. You know, Leia was always competent. You know, like she was competent, but she wasn't a Mary Sue. Like she got captured by the Imperial Guard, thrown in a jail cell, and tortured or whatever. You know what I mean? And like, but given like realistic circumstances, she takes command. She blows a hole in the trash chute and things, stuff like that. And then Luke, you know, he's just standing there dumbfounded. You know, and she pulls him in, frap. But like in the first movie, Luke stumbles through the first movie to the point like I don't know if like the people who seen Star Wars like years later, Luke was incompetent. Like as a little kid, I never vocalized that, but in this first movie, he's just like reacting to everything. He's not in command. You know, they Ben takes him to you know, he goes to visit Ben. He comes back, his family's dead. Then he goes into the bar, and Ben saves him from the two jerks in the bar. They you know, he starts arguing with Han. They go to space. They get captured. Luke just blunders through the movie. You know, but we like him. But like everybody around makes Luke successful. Luke would, without Ben, would still be, you know, and the only reason why he lived through the attack was R2-D2 got away. You know, Luke is just a blundering fool at this point. And then the Empire Strikes Back, he starts to get trained. Yoda's training him. He's learning stuff. He gets to be more competent, you know. But then Vader just beats the crap out of him, to the point Vader was toying with him in the Empire Strikes Back, cutting his hand off, you know. So then when you see Luke showing up in the third movie, Return of the Jedi, all dressed in black, threatening Jabba, I remember in the movie theater, we were like, Luke, shut your mouth. You're a moron. You know, like, and then when Luke displayed competence, it was a shocking, thunderous applause moment. Brilliant. It was really good. But everybody, oh, Luke was a Mary Sue. You know, Rey did all that from the beginning. Luke was an idiot for, geez, how many years did it take? From, you know, 77 to 85 or something like that. So we'll round it up to 10 years. It took 10 years of real time for Luke to become competent. Whereas Rey, she was the best pilot. She was, you know, I only saw 2 movies, and you know, and she was the best in 2 movies. You know what I mean? You want to be, you want the Millennium Falcon? Here's Chewbacca. You can have Chewbacca too. You know, she's sword fighting better than, you know, than the guy who's been training Darth Vader's own kid. You know what I mean? Like she was good. She was the best. Look, Lord Vader and an old man are mildly wiggling their lightsabers. Yeah. David Prowse wasn't a spring chicken either when he filmed that scene and whatever. But I agree with Mr. Plinkett reviews. It still had a lot of emotional impact. You know, Space Bigfoot. Mighty Meat Snack sounds like an yeah. I was gonna make some dirty jokes, but I decided against. Splinter was just a Star Wars story. Didn't really expand anything. Okay, yeah. I read Splinter. Was it good? Was it interesting? Like I never read any of the Star Wars material. To me, it was the movies or nothing, and the comics. But you know, the comics bothered me. But that's the only one that I was interested in reading. So you killed him, you dirty Luke. Frap. Oh, we got Star-Lord over here. Weird World. Twinkies, cupcakes. So Luke's just killing stormtroopers. What point was the stormtroopers' armor? What good did it do them? They might as well have been wearing loincloths because they got hit anywhere. You know, like I would have liked to have seen a scene of, like, you know, Luke boom hits stormtroopers, and then you cut back and you see guys with like just like burn marks on the shoulder getting up. Like I could see like the impact knocks them down, and then they get up and keep on shooting. But like you got hit anywhere with the blaster, you know, because Luke and Han, and Chewie and Leia, they didn't wear armor. You know what I mean? I know they had plot armor, but you know what I mean? Like, what good was Stormtrooper armor? You know, the Empire could have just saved costs and just give them all T-shirts. You know, like you know, like those T-shirts of the tuxedos. You know, just give them T-shirts that look like Stormtrooper armor. You know, Luke. You know, so she's imploring him, but in the movies, she like literally like grabbed him and pulled him in the ship. Boop, and there they are. I hope the old man knocked out that tractor beam, or this is going to be a very short ride. He can't be gone. There was nothing you could have done. Hold on, kiddies, because here we go. Now escape to the moons of Yavin. So there we go. They're blasting away, blasting away. And this is nothing like it's a tractor beam. Like a tractor, like Magneto attracts you with magnetics, and then it got short to tractor beam. We got toy soldiers, and we got Orca. Jaws did so well that they had to do a copy of it. You know, Hollywood is predictable like that way. Something's big, we're gonna copy it. So Jaws was big. Here comes the copy of it with Richard Harris and Charlotte Rampling, Orca. And then there was The Deep. There was a whole bunch of Jaws ripoffs, you know, after Jaws. Just like there was a whole bunch of Star Wars ripoffs, Battle Beyond the Stars, Ice Pirates, you know, when Conan was big. Oh my God, that Arnold Schwarzenegger Conan movie was awesome. And then there was a million inferior copies of it. Random Booby says Luke wasn't even a Jedi Master by the end of the movies. Then you have Rey somehow mastering the Force. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Luke was not a Mary Sue. Luke was a bumbling kid, you know, less than competent. You know, the only cool thing Luke really did in the first movie was swing and make out with his sister. So even that, if he bumbled, he dropped the ball. Yeah, I did something cool. Come on, sis. You know, that's not something we should be celebrating. But I'll die on that hill that George Lucas just added on, like that wasn't part of the original backstory, you know. I remember that Splinter was good, but it's been years since I read it. Weird World, yeah. I have like this weird thing about Weird World. Weird World and Warriors of the Shadow Realm, as far as I know, they're part of the same thing. I may be wrong, but I got them all literally right here, and I haven't read them yet. I don't know why. It's like one of those things. Like I was obsessed with it as a kid. I read those Marvel premieres, but I never got the Marvel big graphic editions, and now I have them all in order, and I just haven't read them. I don't know. I keep putting it off. Like I think I'm going to be disappointed. R.J. Williams, happy Sunday. It is happy Sunday. It's a money thing. The clone is cheaper than plastic blaster-proof armor. So yeah, but T-shirts are even cheaper than plastic armor. You know what I mean? Comics with space battles rule. Orca. You remember Orca? The dead baby Orca effed me up as a kid. Yeah, I saw Orca. Bo Derek was in Orca also. Really, it's been so long since I've seen it. I've seen it on HBO, and you know, but I just remember there was Charlotte Rampling. I've loved Charlotte Rampling ever since the first movie I remember seeing her in is Annie Hall, then Zardoz, then Orca, and then Georgie Girl. Man, was she awful in Georgie Girl. Like the character was awful. She was great. To be fair, orcas are brutal animals. Yes, they are. The Deep was written by Benchley. Did anyone else read the Lando books from the 80s with Bollocks and Blue Max? No. Like I said, I never read any Star Wars stuff. Anybody read White Shark from Benchley? Luke's best skill out of the gate was his piloting ability, but they explain that Luke had been flying his whole life. Yes, that's one thing. Like in movies, like the bumbling idiot character that's just like a trope, but they always have to be good in one thing. Like in Harry Potter, you had Gilderoy Lockhart, but he was really good with memory charms. Harry Potter was a clueless idiot, but he was really good at flying. I'm starting to see the connection between him and Luke Skywalker now. And Luke, he was a good pilot, so they had to be good at something. Otherwise, eh, so, but good observation. I originally think the arm was supposed to protect the warrior from dying, but just barely. They didn't bother to show medics. They might have also been effective against civilian weapons. Yeah, like I said, I would have liked to have seen like a cutback scene where you see like they get shot, boom, and they fly back from the impact of the blasters, but they get up. You know what I mean? Like it saved their lives. But maybe the warrior weapons were too powerful. Gotta go. Okay, see you, random movie. Yeah, Zach, the armor could be great against projectiles and low-tech weapons. But no, the freaking not Jawas, what were they called? Oompa Loompas, space Oompa Loompas in Return of the Jedi. Ewoks were killing them with sticks and rocks and stuff too. So I mean, the guys like Grand Moff Tarkin wearing those like cool looking black Nazi uniforms. That's what they all should have dressed in cloth. Save some money. Ewoks, yeah, little cute little cannibals, right? Because they were they going to eat Luke and Princess Leia? So there you go. This is issue 4. This was the best as far as representing the movie. But again, I loved these 6 movies. I love these 6 comics. And did I see the movie? I forget. It's been so long. I forget if I saw all 6 issues and then saw the movie. But I know that I saw the comics before the movies. That's what I remember. But I don't remember how many of the comics. I was one of the last kids to see Star Wars. And there was this kid, James Facen. He just took delight in spoiling the movies. Luke, Darth Vader's Luke's father. He just like yelled it like that Monday. The movie came out on Friday, and then Monday he just came to school and like we still had jackets on. We were outside, just started yelling it. Just took delight in spoiling the movies. Just a jerk. So anybody got any comments to say? 49 minutes. Anything, Bueller? Anybody want? I know now the rumor has it that Disney wants to sell Star Wars. I don't know if that rumor is true. People would talk about Kathleen Kennedy. I don't care. It's to me, Star Wars is irreversibly dead. Like I am of the opinion, like you can't. Oh, we can reboot it. No, you can't. No, you can't. You can't. You can't reboot the MC universe. You can't reboot Harry Potter. It's done. I'm like Misery. The Kathy Bates character. We saw Misery in the car getting buried. You have to continue from there. So like you can't like if you're going to tell more Star Wars, you have to include Rey. Rey's part of Star Wars. You have to include all that, Rey Skywalker and all Palpatine returns somehow. It just let it go. Let it go. Start something new. Come up with something new. Let Star Wars go. It's done. The Marvel movies, they can't. The Marvel movies aren't dead yet. They could still, they're going down. They could still pull up and course correct, as far as I'm concerned. But Star Wars, I think Star Wars has been fundamentally damaged. It's suffered a mortal wound. I think the MCU movies are bleeding, but it's not mortal yet. You could dress the wounds and heal and fix. Just like comic books. Comic books have been bent and damaged. They could always come up, but rebooting it and forgetting it and starting over is not the way to go. It's not the way to go. You got to course correct. That's the way I think. I'm too much into continuity. But Star Wars, it got cancer and the cancer killed it. You can't just clone it and start all over again. If they're going to sacrifice Luke and Leia to C-3 because they thought 3PO was a god, yes. Okay. I thought they were going to eat them. Sell it to Saudi Arabia like the PGA. I created my own universe. Yeah, it's like I keep saying to people, nobody knew who John Wick was the day before the movie was released, and now John Wick is a legit phenomenon. It's hard. It's hard to do, but it can be done. Make it is a lot more fun. Yeah. Hear me out. What if Superman in space? While I like Star Wars, I'm okay with it being placed on a shelf. Yeah, it's done. It's done. Star Wars is like that. I don't know, like your favorite uncle. He took you to the toy stores, and you did all these great stuff. And then later on, you found out that he was cheating on his wife, and he beat his wife, and and then it doesn't negate the fun stuff you had with him as a kid, but you're disappointed. And what you went to church, and what are you going to get, a new uncle? You turn over here, there's the uncle you never saw before. No, that doesn't work. And then he apologizes and goes to church and reboots himself. He's, I don't know. I made this bad analogy, but you know what I mean. Create new stuff, like Matt said. Create new stuff. Nobody knew who Harry Potter was the day before the book was released. It can happen. It can happen. And they try all the time. Like, damn, Stoll describing my family. But I let it go. Let it go. Star Wars is done. It's okay to let things go. I don't care about Mandalorians. I don't care about Ashokas. I still like the MCU. I got to admit that I've been disappointed. Endgame was the end of Star Wars of the MCU. Like that would have been a great bookend if they had the wherewithal to just stop, just let it end like that, and then like if I was in charge of the MCU, like after Endgame, just be like, okay, we have like the fans' love and adoration. We just can sporadically make movies that are worth it, But instead, they spammed out Loki, where Loki was the guest star in his own show. They got it's just such a shame that that they did all this like identity politics stuff. Endgame and then a reboot. I mean they could have with the Infinity Gauntlet and stuff like that, but if you're gonna do a reboot, do a legit reboot. Wait 10 years. Just wait 10 years and then start all over again. Like now they're rebooting Harry Potter. Does anybody care? I love Harry Potter. My wife and I met because of Harry Potter. I'm a big Harry Potter fan, but I'm not interested in this reboot in the slightest. I got the books. The original the movies were flawed, but those were the movies, and they were flawed in that they weren't slavishly dedicated to the movies. But like the Lord of the Rings movies, I understood the changes and they made senses. You can't take a 600-page novel and turn it into a 2-hour movie. Things are going to get cut. Things are going to get changed. Like they removed whole characters like Winky, the house elf, and things like that, which is fine. Like, Lord of the Rings movies didn't need Tom Bombadil. The only change to the Peter Jackson films that really bothered me, well, The Hobbit bothers me a lot, but the Lord of the Rings movies was the elves weren't in Helm's Deep. That was, that was supposed to be, humans were the last stand. That was humans stand by themselves and fight Sauron. The elves time was over. That was like, oh, huh? That bothered me. That was the only change to me that was inexplicable. What is R.J. Williams? Every male character that gets a Disney spin-off gets timeline. Yep, yeah. Go back in time and start with the Fantastic Four. They give us, but it feels too late. I kind of agree. I kind of agree, Matt. Darth Tempest uses the Time Star to kill Rey's parents and Jar Jar. You see, as I was saying, like I started to see the cracks in the armor with Return of the Jedi, because the Return of the Jedi they blew up a Death Star again. Even seeing it in the movie theater, I'm like, I saw this already. How are they gonna blow up a Death? Like it was legit. That was the studio. Like we got to blow up a Death Star again. You know, like to my way of thinking, if Star Wars was planned as a trilogy, which there's no way you could convince me, it was planned as a one-shot movie, and then the success they turned it into a trilogy. But if it was legit planned as a trilogy, the first movie they would have blown up a Star Destroyer, you know, and then the second movie they get creamed, you know what I mean, and then the third movie they blow up the Death Star. That's to me how it would work if it was planned from the beginning. But it wasn't planned from the beginning. It was slapped together, and it shows. Like, and there's nothing wrong with slapping it together, you know, like the Matrix. The first Matrix movie was all that they had planned, and then they slapped together the two sequels. The first Matrix movie is phenomenal. There's one major flaw in it that to me ruins the whole movie, but because of that flaw, I thought up a really cool story that I'd like to do as a comic someday. But the first Matrix movie, I absolutely love that movie. It's brilliant science fiction. But the other two movies were just slapped together haphazardly, and you know, and you can see that, you know, too much butter, too little butter spread across too much bread. If anybody could have been a Helm's Deep, should have been the American Eagles, not Thondergar and Guayhill, those Eagles. Reboot something that has sat on the shelf for a while. Reboot Forbidden Planet. They're rebooting Starship Troopers, and you know they're doing it because we enjoy it wrong. You know, the only if they're gonna redo Starship Troopers, do it exactly like the movie, the book, or don't do it at all, because you know they're gonna make it. You know, the humans are bad; they're total Nazis. You know, because we enjoy it. Forbidden Planet. I haven't seen Forbidden Planet in a long time. Episode 4 was written with the Empire vaguely planned, but not written because they didn't know it would be a success. Splinter of the Mind's Eye was planned for a straight-to-television sequel. I didn't know it was straight to television. I just thought it was a low-budget sequel in case the movie didn't do too well. It was written vaguely. Okay. A New Hope. Yes. Yeah. They're doing a Helldivers movie. That's the video game you always play, right, Matt? Star Trek, yeah, they're different. I saw the movie first, like most of us, I'm sure. I love that movie. Oh my God, I thought it was funny and everything. And I never thought that the humans were the bad guys. You know, you know, they're freaking bugs. Who gives a crap? You know, I never thought the humans were the bad guys. I love that movie. You know, and it's funny because they say being adult is realizing that that Rico should have been with Dizzy rather than Miranda. I'm like, I knew that as a kid. You know, that Dina Maya, she, first off, she's just, I don't care what you guys say, she's objectively hotter than Denise Richards. She's nicer. She was, you know, that was like the biggest flaw in the movie, was that they're trying to make me think that Denise Richards is a better choice than Dina Meyer in any capacity, acting or not acting. For Super Earth, Star Trek movies, the book is made. Yeah, and the book is really good. It's completely different. But it's really good with some really good philosophy in it. Starship Troopers is the inspiration for Call Sign Orion. Starship Troopers is, I think, the inspiration for like Warhammer, and it's such an influential book. I saw the movie, I was like, what the F? I didn't like, oh, so you read the book first. See, I saw the movie first. I'd like to see another attempt at John Carter. I know. Reboot John Carter. Yeah, there you go. That calls for why? Because they flawed. Because the original was flawed, super flawed. You know, and this is weird rules. I'm starting to realize how weird I am. I mean, I've always known I'm weird, but when you say things out loud, but like it's okay to reboot John Carter because it existed as a book that came out in what, the 30s. So they adapted the book and they did it wrong. Totally legal to do a reboot and start all over again. Star Wars came out first as a movie. You know what I mean? To reboot the movie, it's like you can't reboot the movie because the movie is the official. Like John Carter, the official is the book, if that makes sense. And that's probably why I'm a little bit easier on Marvel being rebooted because it's the comics first. Does that make sense? I'm starting to realize how crazy I sound. Like you can't reboot John Wick because it's the movie first. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, they could reboot Tarzan. They could, the endless reboots of Sherlock Holmes don't bother me because because it existed as a book first. Like I'm trying to think, like they could reboot all the Trojan War movies because their stories first. If a lady's willing to go to war with you, she's a gem. Yep, yep, yep. We're talking about a Disney, right? Maybe an animated film like Arcane. I also get taken out of any movie to try to tell us Zendaya is hot. Maybe if you are a closeted gamer, I don't know. I think Zendaya is cute. I think she's attractive. You know, uh, but there's a couple of pictures of Zendaya. She's stunning, but she's not a good actress. She has that same, and she has no chemistry with Tom Holland. I didn't see the Dune. I don't like Dune. I tried and I tried and I tried. I just don't like the world of Dune. But I got nothing against Zendaya other than she's a bad actress. But I think she's good looking. If I was in high school and Zendaya was in high school, because to me Zendaya looks like a child. You know what I mean? She doesn't look like a woman. Like that same with that the uh the girl from Stranger Things. I don't care that she just got married. She's still a little girl, and it's creepy to think of her, in a sexy way. The movie was made to cash in before in public domain, like the Oz books. What movie? Did, I like the John Carter. I like the John Carter movie. I saw it in the movie theater with my wife. She liked it too. But they the problem is they went too. They took like three books and mushed them all together. That's never a good sign. To me, that's an indication that they didn't have faith in their own product, and they mishandled it. They dropped the ball as far as advertising. But I liked it. It wasn't what I would have wanted as a John Carter Warlord of Mars movie. But then again, that's the sensibilities are different. Like really, like that is going to be like a tough. You can't make it. Like you're not going to have naked people walking around. And even John Carter changed it. Like if you remember in the first book, they were all telepaths. You kind of lose that as they go along. The concept itself evolved. Same with like Conan. There's certain aspects of the world of Conan bother me. Like how in prehistory, I don't know, I forget, was it 40,000 years ago? There's the equivalent of France. There's the equivalent of the Roman Empire. There's the equivalent, you know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff bothers me. Like, you know, but what do I know? Zendaya is mid. The push for her is hot. Feels like a psyop. I liked it too, but I wanted to love it. That's a good way to Matt pretty much encapsulated my thoughts. I liked it too, but I wanted to love it. But the, Disney is just, commit to the bit. You're gonna make a movie, commit to the bit. She never looks that good on film ever. She's bored. She's a terrible actress. She has no, you know. I could see Zendaya as a, the like I've never seen this show, but like the second girl on Gilmore Girls, you know what I mean? Like the friend, you know what I mean? She's not a leading actress. You know, Carter was some of my first time. The books you're talking about, Matt, right? Not the movie, you know, but the books. Yeah. Holy moly, reboot Doc Savage. Yeah, there was a Doc Savage like made for TV movie, right? Or was it in the movie theaters? But you're right. A Doc Savage full committed reboot, like that first movie. I'm finishing up the novel. I forgot I was even reading it of like, you know, in that Mayan temple. That the first, yeah, absolutely, Matt. Like a full on Doc Savage commit to the bit movie would be awesome. You know, with like a I'm like a 60s James Bond aesthetic. That would be awesome. You know, or like that fake 40s like Indiana Jones, the first movie. That would, oh yeah, I'm with you 100%, John. Okay. I want to go back to your comments. So okay. So the movie was made to cash in before it went public domain, like the Oz books. Okay, and then you go. Okay, yes. I just wanted to make sure I had the full context of what you're saying. Okay, yeah, I agree. Yeah, I love the John Carter books. I think I read I have a collection of the John Carter books, a big old roach crushing book, and I'm trying to. So sometimes I forget how many of the actual books I read because so I think it was like the first five novels. I think John Carter's son was just born. I think I think the last book I read was the book that features their kid. Spoiler for those who didn't know. The art direction for the movie casting was due to I um everybody kind of poops on her, but I thought that girl who played Deja Thoris was so sexy. You know, she was the same one who played Wolverine's wife, you know, the betrayer wife in one of the Wolverine movies. I don't know, something about her was sex. And let's be realistic, they're not gonna have a naked girl running around, you know. So, you know, the problem with is that people feel they've seen John Carter even though they haven't seen. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. John Carter is the basis for so much stuff that people will think that John Carter's a ripoff. I I want the Lensman. I want a slavishly dedicated Lensman movie with that retro future aesthetic. You know, make it look like the Fantastic Four's got that retro future aesthetic that I actually like. The new Fantastic Four movie. That to me is the thing I'm looking forward to the most. The retro futurism of it. But you do the Lensman. If anybody's read the Lensman, and you got to keep the sexism. It's got to be like Mad Men in space. You know, like just chauvinistic pigs. You know, they wouldn't let any woman be a Lensman because women are different. You know, like when they're outfitting the ships, that they each officer is getting a female assistant, and they're having the female, literally it's in the book, they're having the female assistants spin around. You know, hey, we're gonna have time in space, we want to at least have a hot piece of ass to go into space with. And then the quartermaster's concerned that there's got to be enough whiskey, steaks, and cigars for the mission. That's what the Lensman has got to be. You know, just embrace it. Just embrace it. You know, and the funny thing is, there's going to be women that are going to love the cheekiness. Like in one of the books, they go to a planet of all women. The women use like cloning technology to reproduce, and they're all naked. So like one of the Lensmen goes to the planet, and he's just like, gotta focus. You know, it's all hot, beautiful. So they literally make the greatest Lensman of all time. I can't remember his name, but his wife, she's described to look like Christina Hendricks, just this tall, va 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 voom, top heavy redhead. They promote her to Reds so she could go to that planet, and she's like, got to dress like that. So she's naked like the whole book, you know. And then like she comes back with other Lensmen, and she's like, well, I got to put my uniform on, and strips in front of them all. And it's so sexist, but it's awesome. That's what they got to do if they do the Lensman movie. Don't change it for a modern audience. But I understand, John Carter. They couldn't have Deja Thoris running around naked. No modern day Bardos, not allowed. Yeah, the books. It was handed to me along with Doc Savage. My dad. Oh, that's cool. See, my dad only read like World War II books. You know, real. I like the Doc Savage TV movie. Really, I gotta watch it. I didn't know it existed until like a couple of weeks ago. I gotta watch it. Yeah, Man from Uncle vibe to Doc Savage movie. Yep, Doc Savage movie was so cheesy it came off as a comedy. See, two different. This says it's really pulp, and then this says it was cheesy. Or bring them up to date. Ditto John. Yeah, they mind Carter to the point it feels familiar. Yes, absolutely. That's a good way to put it. Matt's summarizing my thoughts pretty well tonight. Sign me up for that space mission. Yeah, because literally they were aware that like if they in the Lensman they had spacefaring technology, but it wasn't like Star Wars where they would just zip across the galaxy. They were aware that it took time, and they were aware that if they landed on a planet, odds are they were going to colonize that planet. So like they needed men and women to populate the planet to the point in Lensman they were traveling and they would lose track of ships. So sometimes like they would travel and they would find like colonies like of like this planet has, I hate to say civilization because they're all like Turanian Earth civilization, but they lost track of, didn't know they were there, and it's like 100,000 people on this planet that are like starting to evolve into their own culture because they lost track, and I kind of like that, like frontier towns, like, oh, I didn't know there was a town over here. I really think the way to do a slavishly told movie version of any of these classics, do it in the traditional animation. Yeah, I wouldn't say no to that. I wouldn't say no to a good 2D animated Lensman. That would be awesome. But I mean, if they're gonna make a movie, they got to get like they, you know, you remember Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow? I was so excited for that movie, but the problem with that movie was it was all green screen, and the actors, they weren't acting with anything. They were just standing there pantomiming, and the movie just felt hollow. But I did like the aesthetic of it. I did like that. I love that retro futurism. It's like Sky Captain of the World of Tomorrow is the closest to a Lensman movie, but Lensman is the inspiration for Star Wars. If you take the Lensman and you throw Jack Kirby's Fourth World together, you basically get Star Wars, and you also get the Green Lantern Corps. It's a tough read, and I also don't think it was all planned. I think it was just, I wrote a book. Okay, you want a sequel? All right, let me come up with a sequel, which is fine, So you could see like a little bit of inconsistency, but I really like the Lensman, and I heard that Ron Howard acquired the rights to turn it to a movie, but I really want this period of let this new. I always say that a president, like I was telling my wife, like I don't, I'm not the greatest Trump fan of him as a man. He's like, if he was to sit at my table, I think it would be all about him. It would come whatever. But I am fan of his policies, and I am like, I want the culture to change. Like I was excited when Trump got elected the first time because I thought this whole politically correct culture would change, but we all know it didn't. And then Biden kind of expanded. So, but now I do feel a sea shift, like oh, I'm trying to think, but a movie that just came out, I'm like, it's too late. Like it was made during this identity politics DEI era. Like I do think that any movie that's okay, right now it's going to get, whatever the executives are right now is pushing the button to red light it. I think now they'll be good again. I think the culture has shifted enough that we'll get focused back to like what makes movies fun and interesting rather than like this. We got to represent everybody. That's such an infantile. You know what I mean? Like none of now that I look back at it, none of the Star Wars characters represented me. I didn't see myself in Luke Skywalker, a bumbling farm boy idiot. I definitely wasn't Obi-Wan Kenobi, but I obviously wasn't Princess Leia, and I wasn't cool like Han Solo. But I still liked the movie. I didn't see myself in any of these freaking characters. When did that concept become a important thing? Like, I can't enjoy literature and films unless I see myself. Where did you see yourself? How narcissistic. And it's everybody loved Darth Vader. Everybody loved Darth Vader. Was the breakout character. Everybody, Star Wars. When we played Star Wars, you wanted to be Darth Vader. When we played with the toys, you wanted the Darth Vader toy. Nobody saw themselves as Darth Vader. But that's such a stupid concept. You need to see yourself. No, you don't. Top Gun 2 and Twisters show what kind of movies people want. Yep, absolutely, yeah. The first season of Reacher, everybody loved that, and then the what's his name, like the Parker Rex guy, Chris Pratt. He did that sci-fi movie, and then he did that like action thriller that people seem to like. We turned to that, but it's like I don't know. I'm talking too much, but anyway, it looks like the comments are stopping. So I don't know what else to say. We'll shut it down now. Monday and Tuesday, I got nothing planned. That's always when my friends come over for board games. I'm going back to work tomorrow. Matter of fact, I got to go get my monthly train ticket for the Long Island Railroad. I'm going to go run off and do that, then probably pick up something to eat. And that's my day. Come back here and I want to work on some dialogue from Mary Sue. It's ready. It's ready for lettering. It's all ready for lettering. So there you go. That's my plan. I think it's like Tritonus not having any characters. Like, let's get it. Yeah. I don't want to see myself in a movie. I'm a jerk. Well, do you want to go see a movie with yourself in it? No, I want to see cool characters. But I'm going to end it now. Thanks a lot, everybody. I'll next time I'll be up. My next plan. Oh God, you just snuck up on me. I'll see you Wednesday. All right, bye everybody.